Because when you serve in the community, you are planting a seed.
Yeah.
So it's not about serving and getting paid.
Yeah.
So volunteering is a powerful thing because it's a seed. When people say nothing is for free, that's basically it. That's very true. But nothing is for free does not mean you get paid now. So when you serve the community, you can also anticipate the pay in the later stage. I'm a sprinter, and I'm also going to be part of. I'm doing my master's in sport management. It's a very good combination. I like it. However, we are trying by all means to have our people with intellectual disability involved in decision making.
Welcome to Rise and Impact podcast, where we celebrate the incredible young people who are changing the world one community at a time. Each episode, I will be interviewing the next generation of change makers just to explore their stories, their insights and achievements. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button for you to be notified whenever we release an episode. This is the Rise and Impact podcast, and I'm your host, Elizabeth Julume. Andrew?
Yes.
You are into public speaking and as well as an active athlete who is involved in athletic and all that. And through my observation as well, you are also somebody who is very much passionate about when it comes to community development. That's what at least observe in the conversations that we had and all that. So I'm very much curious to know how, just to understand you more, can you maybe just give us a little bit or maybe just give us the background of an important event, or just how you met your early days and what maybe influenced the person that you are today?
Yes, thank you so much. That's so amazing.
Mm-hmm.
As already mentioned my name,
yeah.
Andrew. Actually, I can give you an example of community engagement activity whereby we had Fitness for Life Day. This is, I'm speaking from the perspective of special kids. As we had an event whereby we just talked about, or maybe we just focus more on engaging the community, and this is, I'm talking about Katutura community.
That's not in your early days.
Yes. So this is, I'm all about, as you said, I'm also really focused on fitness.
Yeah.
I like fitness because, because maybe of the background that I have also, when I did my studies, I specialized in biology and sports. However, I really, like focusing more on sports.
On sports, okay. Can you maybe tell us your early days, where did you grew up, where are you from, where are you originally from, and where did you go to school to, or how, just a little bit of your early days, before you started being the person that you are today.
Yes. Where I came from, it's I actually came from Ohangwena region.
Okay.
Most
okay.
people talk about Ohangwena region.
Yeah.
I'm actually from Ohangwena region, specifically Taapopi.
Okay.
Taapopi is actually on the somehow the outcast of Namibia, the other side of Ohangwena. My high school actually completed my grade 11. Let me talk about my grade 11 and grade 12. I schooled at Onga Secondary School, one of the best performing school in Ohangwena region. And not only in Ohangwena region, but also nationally. And then university, I came to school at the University of Namibia.
Yeah.
That is Windhoek, the main campus.
Okay. That's interesting. From the north to the city here in Windhoek. Okay. Let's now dive into the real business, why you are here today. You are into public speaking, you are a public speaker yourself. And so when did you start this public journey, public speaking of yours, to hone your communication skills?
I can say I started 2019, 2018. I had a brand called Rise Up Africa. I still have it.
Rise Up Africa, that's
Rise Up Africa. Actually came the time of, remember some of the African soccer players, Drogba and Eto'o, there were some, accusations that were happening really, maybe from the white background. So because these players, you remember, they actually played for England. They, you know, played out of Africa.
Yeah.
So there was some, you know, rumors and, you know, some commotion that was really happening there. And this is where I came up, you know, to say, you know, Rise Up Africa, whereby people of the African continent should really stand up for each other, not really to fight back, but, you know, just to protect themselves. So now, the same year is when I created that brand, Rise Up Africa. So, and at the same time, 2018, I was also doing my teaching practice. So I did my teaching practice at academia, and this is where I also started giving motivational speeches to the learners. So that's how I started. I had really passion for it, and I'm still, you know, into speaking to people. You know, there are some learners who come to school and they do not really have hope. So yeah, I believe that, you know, there is a quote that is so amazing. It says, "A living dog is better than a dead lion." That means as long as a person is still alive, whether in hospital, whether in prison, wherever you find them, and they are still alive, that means they still have hope, you know, that they can one of the days will actually rise up and become something that you never anticipated. So that's where I started, and then I kept on going until today.
Okay, like now I'm very much curious. Like you did education, like at university, and like you are a public speaker. So have you always been interested like in speaking, like from your high school or something, like, or what influenced you to go into that education field? Because like in education, you need to be a teacher, you are required to talk, to address learners and all that. So how is the connection? Have you studied like public? Do you use, like, how do I put this now? Do you use like did you do like public school, like in high school or something like that? Or were you involved in that, any activities of that?
Yeah, not really, but somehow, because at school I was also part of the, you know, under 17 soccer team. So I was the captain.
Okay.
So I used to communicate with others. You know, you also understand that football is not just composed of few people. Maybe the team will be having 20 people, and really, I did not really get to that point of being shy. So, and also perhaps the church, that I have been involved in the church and talking to the crowd, maybe that's where I really got the confidence. But somehow, I can tell you that I also don't know where I got the confidence.
Okay, it's actually interesting, like, to hear that. So like now, when it comes now to high school, so your leadership now, like because like your leadership, like, were you also involved like in any leadership like during university that contributed to your ability to be able to address people, to communicate well, like your message across and all that as well?
Yeah, first, before university, talking about high school, when it comes to the manifestation or the manifestos of the LRCs, the Learners Representative Council, I wanted really to be part of. I wanted to become an LRC of spiritual affairs, but I just didn't know how to go about it, and I really regret it, because somebody that took over that position was not really doing the thing I was really going to do. You know, when you can do something better than somebody, you just, you know, you are going to blame yourself. So when I came to the university, first 2017, that was my first year. So 2018, from the beginning of 2017 there, I became the class representative of my biology classes.
Like
so
university?
Yes, I've been representing students. I've been, you know, somehow trying to communicate with the lecturers, and also, you know, just to facilitate the learning process of other students. You know, there are some students who do not have confidence. So now 2019 is when I became the part of the housing committee. I was representing my block in the hostel, because I've been a hostel resident from my first year until my fourth year. So now from the housing committee, I became a student representative council of gender affairs, community development and gender affairs. And this is the office that deals with community work, and I'm really sold out really to community work. Maybe this now is composed of talking to people, you know, just community work.
Community work and all that. That's that's very interesting. So you are also into athletic, right? You are also an athlete. So can you just like tell us about it? Very interesting.
Yeah, really, it's really amazing. In athletics, something that I focus more on, I actually do 400 meters and 800 meters. You know, 400 meters is regarded as the longest sprint in track and field. So I've been running and started running, you know, for Unam Athletic Club 2017. But yet I was not really, and still not really into that, you know. I cannot tell you that I have maybe trained for the full year because of, you know, various responsibilities. But I know the time whereby even now that, you know, I'm busy with my master's, you know, sport management. I know this time around I'll really focus more on sport because the only thing I do is more sport. I'll actually be sleeping in sport. I will be waking up in sport. So that's what I do, 400 meters. But I actually, you know, I do 400 meters and 800 meters. But I like 400 meters more.
Okay.
So you see the champions coming up today, you know, Bomas and, you know, Christine Boma, Beatrice Maselingi, them coming up, you know. It's a matter of really just consistency. And some people are saying, you know, the girls came from Norway. There's nothing like that. Because whatsoever it means socially reap, that means, you know, I have known Boma since 2018 or 2019. She was running barefooted. And today people are saying, oh, she became rich just like that. No, it's never like that. So sports really, especially athletic, requires a lot of training, consistency. You will never become a champion within just a couple of months or within a short period of time. It requires practicing. So, and when somebody wins and then say it's out of, the person came from Norway. If for example, Frank Frederick wins, you know, the gold medal, it's no need for you to ask how did he win, because he trains, he practices every time. Yeah.
Now that you even said, like, I remember now, like Coach Botha, when he was like, it took Christine like how many years like for her practice, but it only took her like I don't know how many seconds for her to win the championship and all that. So by the hours that she put in like for that training, there were thousands of hours, but it only took her seconds to actually go there to get the champion. But then people are like, she just got it like that in one day. Definitely.
You know, athletics, when it comes to athletics, you really need to understand that, you know, more pain is during training. You see, for example, let me say you only train for 100 meters, so you only have the maximum of 12 seconds if you are a man, you know, to compete. You see, 12 seconds, but you train all, you know, thousands of hours, you know, just to compete within a very short period of time. Yeah, so whatever you sow, you will come out. It will come out, of course it will come out, and only people who understand will really be able to be convinced and say, you know what, this person never just came from out of Norway, or else everybody would, you know, beat anybody, would beat Boma, would beat, you know, the Prices and the Thompson Harris, talk about, you know, Jackson, you know, all those people.
Okay, like have you already like do you do athletic like within the country, or do you also travel outside the country?
Yeah, right now I'm just a national athlete. Yeah, I never traveled really outside the country. As I said, you know, I never really got time really to focus more on athletics like full time, because you also understand that during the time I joined athletic in university, 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020, I was still in school, and you know, to make it worse, even 2019, 2020, I was also busy with the school leadership, so it was really not an easy thing. But you know, my vision is actually, you know, to be part of the international athletes one day and represent my country.
And you are now doing like you're going to do your masters as well in sports. Like how Okay.
It's a really amazing thing. This is my, my best and favorite department.
Okay.
Because imagine you are just like, you talk about Frank Lampard today, for example, the coach. He just was actually just taken to Chelsea now. You see, he was already a football player. So when he's going to facilitate, the footballers, he already knows what he's doing. So when you talk about lactic, you are not going to talk to Frank Lampard and say lactic is this. You already knows what it is. And most of our coaches also, you realize that, Coach Erven Imaka, our coach, he was also a sprinter, 400-meter runner. So that means now when I'm a sprinter, and I'm also going to be part of, I'm doing my master's in sport management. It's a very good combination. I like it because at the end of the day, we don't just need to, especially maybe in sport offices. The reason why people are failing offices today because they are just appointed. They are not really tested. The competency is really, really important. So what I want to say is just that, it's a very good combination. It's a very good thing. Doing sport management and also doing sports, athletics, track and field. Nobody really, maybe at the end of the day I will end up lecturing sports again in universities. So it will never go wrong.
Okay. It will never go wrong.
It will never go wrong.
Okay, I love the confidence. So let's go into like the Special Olympics. You are also like there.
Yes.
Involved there. So can you just tell us about it? Like what is that? And
first of all, starting with what Special Olympics is. Special Olympics is an international organization. As the name stipulates, says, special, we deal with people with special needs, but with intellectual disability. Maybe in terms of their thinking. So we deal with people with intellectual disability. So what we do is actually try by all means to, create and promote inclusion. You see, based on the UN Convention, you understand that also, and also conferring to the Sustainable Development Goals. Talk about the goal number 4, number 10, talking about inclusion. So not just, we're talking about inclusion in all the areas. For example, education, talking about, decision making, we talk about inclusion there. So Special Olympics is actually, connected and linked by such also international bodies, like the UN Convention. So what we do, we involve the community. We do awareness campaigns to tell people that, there are people, especially from the African background, whereby people think that people with intellectual disability are people who are bewitched. Feel like, the family did something terrible and God is angry, it's a taboo. So we actually go into the communities and, communicate, starting from the families and going into the community. The reason why we have a lot of volunteers, to also facilitate in this, awareness campaigns. So what we also do is that we involve people without intellectual disabilities. We have what we call unified schools. So of course, for example, in Windhoek there are only 2 special schools. We have Morrison and we have Dagbreek school that is with people with intellectual disabilities, special needs also. So what we do is we also try by all means to accommodate some schools, secondary schools. For example, I can give an example of, Emmanuel Shifidi in Katutura. There we use people without intellectual disabilities to work together with people with intellectual disabilities for a common goal. For example, a person cannot articulate, a person with intellectual disability cannot articulate, and we call them athletes. So people with intellectual disabilities, we call them athletes, and the people without intellectual disabilities, we call them partners. So athlete with partner, they work together, they bring about a meaningful goal or meaningful outcome. For example, also as a volunteer of Special Olympics, actually a youth summit leader. I'm a part of the youth innovation leaders. The youth innovation leaders carry out projects I can say youth summits, you know, to bring up young people or athletes with intellectual disability from the age, for example, from the age of 14 to 24, that can represent others. And this is coming back again to what inclusion is. They represent others. You know, this is a really body that was broken down in Namibia, but yet from the year 2019 it's, you know, rebuilding back again, and you understand that when it's rebuilding back, it's not an easy thing. However, we are trying by all means to have you know, our people with intellectual disability involved in decision making, just like what the wonderful government did now, that we also have now a minister of disability. So that is what we are trying to have, so that, you know, people like maybe who are representing others with intellectual disability can stand in parliament, stand in the state house and say, you know, this is what we need, this is what we are looking for, this is how the community is treating us, and the government need to do A, B, C, D, and D, or and E. So also, Special Olympics, the most focus is sports. You know, this is called Special Olympics. Olympics has to do with sports. So yeah, we have a lot of sports. We have swimming, we have tennis, we have football, we have basketball. Just now, soon in June, we have a team, basketball team, and also cycling team and athletic, that is going to represent our country in Berlin, and it's German, that is 2023, just within June, it's just nearby here. So that means we are really into sports. And in sports we build courage, you know. Some people with intellectual disability, our athletes are just in their houses. Some of them don't do anything, some of them, because they are labeled, they can't do anything. So we try by all means to accommodate them and bring them into the sector of sports, whereby they participate in sports, so that they be able really to, you know, build confidence, you know, and also be able to compete, and not only compete but also participate.
Yeah, that's true.
Yes. So I think that's all a bit I can say about Special Olympics.
Yeah. So it's all about sports, and you with people with special needs.
Yes.
So you deal with people that are in school, people that are not doing anything, and all that.
I can give you an example. Last year, in June again, we had summer games that happened. It was a Unified Cup games that happened in America, Detroit. So we had a combination of both athletes and partners. So that is what we call unified sports, because we're talking about people with and people without intellectual disabilities play together. Yeah. So that is basically what I say. I mean, so we go now. Also, we have bodies in universities. We have volunteers from like University of Namibia, from International University of Management. We have other universities and also high school like DHPS. We really partner up, you know, just to break this discrimination that is going on, and, you know, bring back, you know, the humanity of a human, you know, as we also believe in Ubuntu, you know, you are because I am.
You are so much involved, like in community development stuff, community development projects, and like very much you are an active community contributor and all that. Like, how important is it, like, for everyone, for all of us, like, to be involved in community development, or just for us to be involved in some community activities and all that, like as young people?
Yeah, it's very, very important. You know, people who are complaining today, let me talk about maybe the grandparents in the 80s and the 90s who are complaining that, you know, nobody cares for me, nobody's really there for me. it's really nobody to blame, because you were also a young person.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm not trying. I came in peace, really.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So it's really important as a young person, because when you serve in the community, you are planting a seed.
Yeah.
So it's not about serving and getting paid.
Yeah.
So volunteering is a powerful thing, because it's a seed. When people say nothing is for free, that's basically it. That's very true. But nothing is for free does not mean you get paid now. So when you serve the community, you can also anticipate to be paid in the later stage. For example, like organizations, we talk about SOS, we talk about Special Olympics, we talk about other organizations. We have another organization that is actually just maybe forgot the name now. Yeah, Side by Side.
Oh.
Yeah, we have a lot of organizations, especially NGOs.
Yeah.
So this you'll be surprised. You'll be surprised, because at the end of the day, these people, these kids or children that you're helping now, they are just looking at you, and when you get old, they will take care of you. So it's very, very important for young people in this age just to serve in the community. You also get, at the same time, you also gain skills, how to work with people, how to be disciplined. Instead of getting involved in, social things, like, for example, going to the shepins, you have something that is really, bringing you up and building your characters. And at the end of the day, it also does not mean that when you volunteer today, you will be a volunteer forever. You are just grooming yourself. You're just coming up and gaining some skills. That means when you go, for example, humanity kind of skills, whereby you know how to work with people. So you get from the NGOs and community works.
Yeah, that's very true. That's actually very much true. So, one last question. Like, if you could actually go back in time and then just give your younger self, like your teenage self, like a piece of advice, what would it be, like, and why?
What can I say is that, especially, I want to go back to university, for example. When I was, especially when we started getting, it's very, very good to maintain what you have. Not only maintain, but manage things that you have. Especially finances, time. Those things will never come back to you if you lack management skills. And there's a man, Dr. Monroe's Miles says, money will never come back to you because you mismanaged. Money will only come to the managers. So time management, money management, skills management. So it's very, very important. And also another thing I will talk about, that if I could go back, I'll never despise anybody. I will respect anybody, because everybody has a unique characteristic, has a unique feature that you also need, maybe somehow integrate into yourself in everything that you do, and you'll never be the same again. So that's what I can say. Not despise anybody, but respect everybody. And people don't understand when you talk about, respecting people. The thing is about fearing people. No, respecting people, you just respect the person, the humanity of a person. And also, I also say I will be violent when it comes to grabbing opportunities. So I will not say I will wait until I graduate, for example. I will do something immediately. I will do businesses, you see, so that I maintain myself. When the time comes when I graduate and perhaps I do not have a job, I already employed myself.
Oh, yeah, that's
yes.
actually very true. That's actually very true.
So that's actually what I could, it's perhaps a wish, or I could maybe just divert this to, maybe disseminate this to the younger people today, youth in the universities. Actually, this year I was even planning to, have something like a student summit, whereby you talk to, especially our students. Universities, you talk about, you have a combination of students from different universities, and to tell them what they can do while they're still in universities. You see that there is a high rate of unemployment today, but it's not people who never went to school. It's not people who just didn't finish or didn't go to universities, but these are graduates who are unemployed. So imagine if somebody could really grab opportunity, skills, as you just spoke here. So we are not going to complain. We are not going to demonstrate.
Yeah.
We are not going to carry placards and say, give me job, because we actually grab an opportunity.
Like we are creating opportunities for ourselves.
That's right.
So yeah, very much so. Thank you so much, Andrew, for being here, and thank you for coming through and all that. Just the last one, like, can you give us like maybe 3 people, like 3 speakers or 3 people that you can actually recommend to other people, like they can go and listen to if you want to improve your communication skills or your public speaking and all that. Just
okay. First of all, as I said, I like Miles Monroe's.
Okay,
so that's a doctor, and also Liz Brown.
Liz Brown, okay.
Yeah, and also Steve Harvey.
Steve Harvey, okay.
So these are my favorite speakers, and I'm always looking up on them.
Okay.
Yes.
So thank you so much for coming through, and yeah, thank you so much.
You're welcome.